We could just keep track of this because this whole critical race theory thing is going to be interesting to see the way that this migrates. Critical race theory started in law schools. It came out of the critical legal studies, which is essentially looking at the implications, not the intent of laws, but the broader implications for society in the way that laws interact with society. Critical race theory is to look at laws and see how they, in practice, function, and if they function in a racist manner.
You sound like a cultural Marxist.
Well, for instance, when we had Dorothy Brown on, she explained to us why there was a lot of racism embedded in the tax code. It wasn't because white people who wrote the taxes were racist. They may have been, but they probably didn't even really think about the racial impact of this. But they only listened to white people when they were basically drawing up the tax code. And because white people are situated in society in a different manner than black people, because there has been systemic racism in this country that has made them less wealthy, the tax code was developed in such a way that helped white people and disadvantaged black people. That's just an example of how one might apply critical race theory. But here is Sean Duffy on the 5 to tell you that it's something very different.
I want to make a couple points. So the name of the speech at Yale was "The Psychopathic Problem of the White Mind."
Right. What
Can you
Yale knew
imagine
about.
putting any other race in there?
Right.
Insane. So what concerns me is you have all these little kids across America who are being taught that they're white supremacists because they're white, or they're racist because they're white. I mean, how destructive is that for little children? Number one. But what concerns me more is the Democrat Party is pushing this ideology, and they have a long history as racist, segregationists. They supported Jim Crow, and they're doing the same thing here, just in a different way. Now they've switched from black, and now they've gone to white. But this is the MO of Democrats: racism, segregation, separation on race, and it will destroy our country.
Yeah, it comes down to identity politics, which is now manifesting itself in a worse ideology, which is critical race theory.
Oh, it's even worse. It's not just like the same thing that you guys are completely repackaging and rebranding for your new aggrievement tour. It's actually, it's like, you know, it's the big bad. It's the big boss, critical race theory. And then in 5 years, it'll be something new.
These are the same people who always, I mean, I love this part, is that they'll always have a black person on, Republican, to discuss this, how it's so racist. So the people who don't like identity politics are also using identity to make their points. They're the ones who start these, you know, Katie is part of the Independent Women's Forum. Oh, let's talk about identity politics. Oh, it works one way, but not the other. I understand. Okay, got it.
Well, I mean, this is a prime example of the idea that you could correct a policy or a legal structure that is racist in practice. Let's put aside any intent that anybody had, and you could plenty of people who don't perceive themselves as racist. You can believe that everyone is, to some extent, racist, regardless of how conscious they are of it or how much it manifests itself. It doesn't matter. That disposition of that person has nothing to do with the assessment and the analysis of the structures and the laws and how they impact in a disparate fashion people of different races. And the idea that that might be even addressed or noticed or examined or discussed becomes a Jim Crow situation for white people, even though there is no material detriment to white people. Nobody is saying that white people only get 2/3 of a vote. Nobody is saying that white people are subjected to a tax structure that is disadvantaged, that is specifically disadvantageous to them. Nobody's saying any of this, but it is, again, just white aggrievement politics. And this new critical race theory has been around for decades. Decades. It was in law school when I was in law school, and it's been decades. But what's old, I guess, is new again if you can monetize it.